walked away. This is a trick pick. Democrats think they can trick you with an old white guy from the Midwest. But he's a freak in sheep's clothing. Democrats can't be honest about who they are. They have to lie to you and hide their positions. But there's something else going on here. Obama didn't want Kamala. He wanted an open convention. But Biden endorsed her before Barack could make a move. So Barack put Eric Holder, his wingman, in charge of Kamala's VP vetting. And Holder just served up Waltz, creating the craziest ticket in history. Is Waltz just a sacrificial lamb? Do they know they're going to lose? Because all the talented Democrats are being kept on ice for 28. Newsom, Shapiro.
Is this right here a serious campaign? And also something else, too, I need to go ahead and say this before we get started. This stolen valor story looks like it's not going to be going away.
Deploy. I think it's more just like, I don't know, to do something like this. And then later, from the Washington Free Beacon, Tim Walz falsely claimed he served in Afghanistan. When a local vet called him out, his office did nothing. Come on. I'll just play this video because CNN is garbage. We're going to play this video for you.
That right there was a little bit from Timcast IRL last night. I'm probably going to go back and rewatch the episode anyways, just to hear what my man actually was saying, the guest was saying, because you have these reports that come out from, let's just say this page right here, Green Beret Nap Time, where they're actually showing the VP candidate, whom, by the way, there's actually some circulation going on that he could actually be replaced because he was never actually nominated, and Kamala Harris has been nominated already, virtually. I highly doubt it because it would look like a weak move. I just want to go ahead and say this right now. But those rumors are circulating, and I think it's because of what you guys are seeing now. So Tim Walz, of course, is out here doing what? He's basically claiming that he was in the military, which he was in the military. But he's also claiming that he retired a certain rank, and he's claiming that he went to war when obviously we know that he never actually went to war. He actually chickened out under fire or chickened out and did not deploy when he was actually called. But still at the same time, though, we once again got to deal with the mainstream media telling us that this guy served. Now, the thing that I find interesting about this Green Beret Nap Time account is the photos that were shared of Tim Walz wearing a hat, basically suggesting that he's a Green Beret. Now, I want to go ahead and give you guys a personal pet peeve of mine. As a Marine, if you see me wearing, say, a hooded sweatshirt that's red, that could signify, say, 1st Battalion, because, of course, each training battalion, each recruit training battalion is obviously a battalion. They obviously have paraphernalia. I would probably get in trouble with 1st Battalion people because guess what? I did not graduate from recruit training battalion 1st Battalion. I graduated from 3rd Battalion, India Company, I joined in November 2003, but of course my graduation date was February of 2004, February 6th to be exact. That right there is how anal Marines are about certain bits and pieces of paraphernalia. The fact of the matter is that this guy is obviously trying to pass him out as something that he's not, and obviously this story is not going away. However, given this story here, given everything that we know, given everything that's coming out, people will start digging across the internet and they start finding clips like this.
I spent 24 years in the National Guard, some of that full-time. I was an artilleryman. I deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. My battalion provided base security throughout the European theater from Turkey to England in the early stages of the war in Afghanistan. And that same battalion is now in Iraq at this.
And then to go on top of that, you find clips like that, and then you find other clips like what you guys are about to see that kind of disprove what he says.
You can listen, you can hear what he said for yourselves.
Hope woke up like many of you did 5 weeks ago and said, Dad, you're the only person I know who's in elected office. You need to stop what's happening with this. I'll take my kick in the butt for the NRA. I spent 25 years in the Army and I hunt. And I gave the money back, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
You heard it. He said he carried weapons of war in war. Homie, according to Wikipedia, we're going to use Wikipedia because the source is actually task and purpose. They say he deployed to Italy. And in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, he did not deploy to Iraq, Afghanistan, or a combat zone during his service. So what do you guys think? Is that stolen valor? At least it's not legally stolen.
The man's on Wikipedia says that he never deployed. Now, I know you guys are probably going to say he never said he went to Iraq in that clip. That right there is true. However, he is saying now that he did, in fact, go overseas. However, that right there, of course, is the topic of the day that's going to continue for a long time. And as I did say in yesterday's video, there will be a video out on Friday talking about the polls and what the hell is probably really going on there, because obviously you get a lot of flash polls. However, a lot of them don't make any sense. Like, for example, you have a Marquette poll out there saying that Kamala Harris is now up 8 nationally, yet somehow or another she's down by 1 in Wisconsin. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Or as Richard Barris explained yesterday in the IBD poll, which is actually on Monday, most of the support that she's getting in is mostly response bias that's coming in from the West Coast. Not exactly something that's going to decide the election, but obviously a lot of crap going on here, and it once again is in fact a propaganda campaign like it always is. I just figure I would go ahead and start with that, go ahead and open with this right here before we get to the overall meat of the video. So what is the point, what is the purpose behind this particular campaign? Well, if you ask Jesse Waters from Fox News, he will give you the first part of his spiel, which ultimately ends with him basically saying that this is a trick campaign that is not designed to win the presidency. But let's go ahead and react to this.
In the one opportunity Kamala had to separate herself from the Biden administration, she chose a sloppier version of Biden. Do the chemists in the Democrat lab think you have to pair old white guys with young black women? Tim Walz looks like Biden and sounds like Bernie.
We can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
How did Kamala make a vice president more radical than she is? They're the Jordan and Pippen of progressives. The last time Harris and Walz tangoed, he let rioters burn down Minneapolis, and she bailed him out. Walz blamed America for the Black Lives Matter riots and said they were exciting.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. They're going to want fundamental change. And that is what I think, that's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can feel a sense of optimism coming back.
Now, guys, this right here is stuff that you've probably already seen in ads. You've probably already seen it through your local Fox News host, even the local stations. You've probably already seen it not just through Fox, but you've probably already seen it on Twitter. And obviously, people don't vote for the vice president. However, in the video that I posted for 2 o'clock today, I talked about the real reason why it was that she selected Tim Walz over Josh Shapiro. It didn't have really so much to do with Josh Shapiro being,
The Jews.
once again, the YouTube algorithm. Of course, they'll find a way to limit the video if I just say the word outright. But of course, if I use Ben Shapiro, therefore, I'll still get some form of monetization. But the point is this right here. This right here has obviously got a lot to do with it, but not the real reason why. You'll see in the previous video that the real reason why it is that she outright said no to Shapiro is, for the most part, because Josh Shapiro wasn't willing to be fully subservient to Kamala Harris.
Based off of their faith, based off of their religion. So you don't have to take it from us. I don't even think you have to assume this was part of the conversation. Just go look on social media.
So here may be the actual reason that this happened. Governor Shapiro outshined Kamala Harris last night. He just did. I mean, he gave people Obama-type vibes with his cadence, with the way he delivered his message. And then, as I was leaving here yesterday, Bill, I saw this Politico reporting that Josh Shapiro, after his Sunday meeting, someone on his team called Kamala Harris's office and said that he was struggling with the decision to leave his current job as governor. And I thought to myself, why is he struggling with this? And then later in the night, CNN came out with this report, and it was about some of the questions Kamala Harris wanted to ask. She wanted to make sure she could ask questions like this during the vetting process. You're going to go from a principal to a hybrid principal staffer. Okay, so the VP is now a staffer. Can you make that transition? The biggest hurdle for Shapiro was his face-to-face meeting where he posed specific questions about the role of vice president, including what decisions he would be included in making.
I want to say this really quick. I think it is the best idea in the world. Somebody like Kamala Harris, who obviously wants to be in charge, because I honestly don't think that Obama is the one who made the call on this. And I'll tell you guys why more so towards the end. But it's also possible that Mr. Waters could be correct. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But I want to say this really quick. There was a moment in last night's Detroit rally where apparently a heckler showed up and Harris said, "I'm speaking. If you want Donald Trump to win, speak like that." Okay, Harris is trying to align herself with the ceasefire crowd, yet apparently she met with Netanyahu, and apparently Netanyahu felt disrespected. It seems to me that a lot of AIPAC money is probably going to be going here real soon to Republican candidates. I mean, they've already started going after certain Democratic candidates, which, of course, a lot of people are going to blame AIPAC for the fact that Cori Bush and Ilhan Omar, well, Ilhan Omar's not going, she hasn't lost yet, but they're going to blame her, obviously. They're going to blame AIPAC, obviously, for their losses, when in reality, the real reason why her and Jamal Bowman lost their primary is because they, quite frankly, suck as congressmen. People are tired of the racial divisiveness, and, of course, people got rid of them. Their voters actually got rid of them. Now, that right there is a different can of worms altogether, but they think that they're going to be appeasing the Free Palestine crowd by going with Tim Walz. Well, the thing about Tim Walz is that his voting record in Congress is actually pretty pro-Israel. However, it does not change the fact that obviously his performance during the riots in Minnesota, it obviously does not, does not hold him above a certain word, which is pretty obvious that he's obviously a coward. Of course, I'm showing you guys the stuff in the B-roll footage, which came from Alpha News. The bit that was done where one of the guys he served with, somebody who had to replace him on deployment because, Tim Walz did not want to go. And, of course, now it's a great big giant can of worms. If there's something that people do not like in this country, they do not like a coward, and they do not like a guy who did not actually do the duties that, quite frankly, were required of him. Even if you sign a contract and you go, you got my respect. Obviously, as a veteran myself. However, if you duck deployment, there's going to be a certain stigma to go along with you. And, of course, the stigma is not just the fact that he ducked out of his service going overseas. It's also the fact that he let Minneapolis burn. Now, there's also this clip that's going around of Trump apparently praising Walz during the riots or something like that. However, if you actually listen to the clip, it sounds kind of modeled. It's roughly 2 minutes long, but he wasn't praising Walz. He was praising the fact that they got the riot situation under control. Of course, these are the dirty games and dirty tricks these people will play, which makes me automatically think that maybe they're not trying to throw the election. Maybe they're trying to still win it by any means necessary. And even if they lose, they're still going to do exactly what Roger Stone said in the Unusual Suspects podcast when he said that he felt that they would install Kamala at some point in time anyways. But I'll link that video in the description box for you. So, is this campaign trying to lose? My response is this here. I think it will lose regardless. Now, before I get back to Waters, I want to say this really quick before we get back to the rest of this little bit. I mentioned earlier how it was that Kamala Harris apparently told some heckler she's speaking or something like that. Well, there's another thing that was posted in the comment section of that, and this right here was pretty normal. A lot of people with the Free Palestine bio in their Twitter profile saying, "I'm not voting for this." I told you guys before, Kamala Harris, married to Douglas Emhoff, a secular Jewish guy, lawyer, is not going to erase the fact that the Free Palestine crowd, especially the white liberal men that she needs and some of the older white women, they're going to say no. They're not going to vote for her. Well, most of them live in the Midwest, which, by the way, was detailed in Richard Barris's episode on Monday, talking about the IBD poll, because IBD, TIPP, they do their tracking by region, and they said that Kamala Harris's only pickup came on the West Coast, where everywhere else she seemed to lose ground. I hate to tell you this, but the West Coast is where she would get the most for support. But we'll go back over that again tomorrow. But still, though, why pick Tim Walz? Are they really and truly trying to lose? Well, let's watch the rest of this, and let's see if we can find out anything else about this particular ticket's intentions.
Minneapolis mayor was begging Governor Walz to deploy the National Guard, and Walz told the Guard, stand down. He told the police to surrender their precincts, and once the city was a pile of ashes, he defunded the police. What kind of Midwestern dad with Midwestern values lets a city burn to a crisp and then lets crooked donors swoop in and buy up the real estate on the cheap? When haters were ripping down statues of Columbus, Walz didn't stop them.
It was an act of civil disobedience that we need to make sure people feel that there is a proper outlet to address what are legitimate concerns around what they view as a genocidal monument that they have to walk to in their democracy.
It's our democracy, too. If Kamala was the most radical senator, Tim Walz is the most radical governor. When Kamala was letting illegals pour in, Walz was giving them driver's license and free tuition. Minnesota's a sanctuary state, and he wants to help make America a sanctuary.
And of course, there's also this little gem here.
His best city burned down, flooded it with illegals, and helped cancel the state flag to make it look more like the flag of Somalia. How do we know this guy's crazy? Squad loves him. Omar, AOC, thrilled. Bernie, thrilled. The Democrat Socialists of America, thrilled. Offering up an over-the-top endorsement as if Walz was Castro. Dylan's thrilled because Walz turned Minnesota into a sanctuary state for sex change operations for children. No age limits.
We want every Minnesotan to grow up feeling safe, valued, protected, celebrated, and free to exist as their authentic versions of themselves. Protecting and supporting access to gender-affirming health care is essential to being a welcoming and supportive state to the community.
Don't let this guy anywhere near your children is what I'm going to say on that last part. He bowed to the Somalis and even tried to change the state flag to suit them. Identity politics at its absolute worst. But I want to go ahead and say this really quick because you guys are also, and I'm giving you guys a bit of a heads up, I'm going to say it in tomorrow's video about polls. The truth be told about the Democratic Party coalition is that the Democratic Party relies heavily on minority support. For example, we'll take the black vote. I was listening to Kwame Brown this morning. He was saying that he felt that Kamala Harris would win in a landslide. Of course, I didn't get fully through that. I disagree with him, but he basically was trying to say, look, you are going to continue to vote for her regardless because she's not white. This is who these voters are. Now, me personally, I'm not here to lecture anybody, but if you look at the crosstabs of each poll, you'll see something, quite frankly, that's pretty consistent. Trump polling at about 20 to 23% with black support. Most of Trump's black support is coming with black families, and it's coming with black ministers, and it's also coming with black men, single black men. That's very, very important going forward because you have to have all of that together with black women, including single black women, to do what? To make it viable when it comes to voting. That vote is what helps prop up Pennsylvania, helps prop up Wisconsin, helps prop up Michigan, and even Minnesota to a certain degree. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Milwaukee, also not only Milwaukee, you've got Detroit, Auburn, what's it called? Ann Arbor, you've got Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and obviously some blue states. It makes up a big portion of the vote. However, in the South, where 52% of the black population is, it doesn't really add up as much as you think it does. On steroids, the most it gives the Democrats is possibly the state of Georgia, and of course there is Virginia as well. If you take that vote, or if it goes down in Virginia, more than likely, the Republican nominee would still win. But you still have a lot of white liberals and white Democrat government workers who are in that sector, who live in that area. So it makes you wonder, why in the world would she take Tim Walz, an old white man, given the fact that she has a history of prosecuting young black men and going to the extreme? Well, if you look at the fact that she was allowed to take a guy who, quite frankly, was affable, just look at the VP announcement.
Hi, this is Tim.
It's Kamala Harris. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Madam Vice President.
Listen, I want you to do this with me. Let's do this together. Would you be my running mate and let's get this thing on the road?
I would be honored, Madam Vice President.
You might come away thinking to yourself that Kamala Harris took a subservient individual because she's going to be in charge of the campaign. I mean, this is the same woman who had a 92% turnover rate, okay? Stories of her demanding that her interns call her general, stuff like that. She's a real mean person. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to see this come out on the debate stage this year because right now it looks like there may actually be two debates. One on ABC and one on Fox News. Nothing's been official yet, but I'll link this video from Depressed Ginger in the description box. This guy has a habit of being right on things, and I want to lead you to people who have a habit of being right. The fact of the matter is this right here. People are asking questions about this ticket, and of course, you'll also see in that guy's videos that the mainstream media is, of course, questioning the pick. Which brings us to this next point, which I think is really important, especially given the contrast between the two VP candidates.
Removes a child from their parents' home if the parents don't want to castrate them. He's sick. Walz forced schools to stock tampons in boys' bathrooms. Tampons in 4th grade boys' bathrooms. What a freak. What do boys need tampons for? This guy's not Minnesota nice, he's Minnesota nuts. Minnesota lockdowns were worse than California's. Not only did he keep schools and churches locked down, but he set up a hotline so your neighbors could snitch on you for leaving your house without a mask. He probably learned this from China, where he visited 30 times. Weird, right? I'm sure he paid for all those trips himself on a teacher's salary. Walt spent his honeymoon in China before Biden detonated himself at the debate. Waltz was full steam ahead on the cover-up, said Biden was fresher than ever.
I think this week watching, some of the media colleagues look at this as a new Joe Biden. No, it's not. It's the same competent Joe Biden that's been delivering for us. Governors understand that because we have to do it every single day.
Waltz has a lot of common and Paulie P. Remember Paulie? He T-boned a seasonal worker, then handed the Highway Patrol a donor card. Waltz was caught drunk driving, 96 and a 55. Claimed he wasn't actually drunk. He was just deaf from serving in the military. But he actually blew a .12. Waltz served in the National Guard until his unit was deployed to Iraq, and then he abandoned.
Families are not going to be going for this guy. That right there is all I'm going to say on that matter there. This guy comes off as an absolute freak, as an absolute loon. He's not some folksy guy. What he is a weak beta male that, quite frankly, he has a tendency to also be crazy, too. And, of course, he's also a coward. But I'll probably do another video on that scandal one more time tomorrow just to kind of get the point through because this crap ain't going away. Okay, so I let that one run a pretty long time to go ahead and let Jesse finish it off. And in there, you caught China. You caught cover-up. You caught, what else? Oh, try to pitch to Midwestern voters. And you also caught the fact that he ducked out of deployment. This right here might make you think for 2 seconds that this right here is, in fact, a trick pick, and it's a pick that's ultimately designed to lose because Democrats have other people on the ballot or people who are looking to run in 2020. I hate to tell you this, though. Either A, it is, in fact, a trick pick, or it is a complete, total miscalculation. Let me explain the reason why it is. I think it could be a very much a complete, total miscalculation. Josh Shapiro looks like a firebrand in that party going forward, even though he's got a lot of baggage himself. As a matter of fact, if you watch the episode of Barnes and Barris, you will see that Richard Barris polling people in Pennsylvania in 2022, and even to this day, say that there are a lot of Shapiro Trump voters. People who voted for Trump but then voted for Josh Shapiro as governor, people who voted for people who voted for Fetterman but would still vote for Trump in the election. The reason why I'm bringing this, speaking of Fetterman basically went on Newsmax the other day and told everybody that Pennsylvania was gone. I wouldn't fully trust that. I'd still keep spending if I was the Trump campaign in that state. But still, though, the point is this right here. The thing about Josh Shapiro is that, well, like I said before,
the Jews.
That's going to hurt them with the brand new burgeoning voter base that they have, which is linked to identity politics. I talked about the black vote earlier. However, if you have a massive break in the Hispanic vote, you don't have a chance of winning elections on the national level as well. The fact of the matter is the Democrats don't have enough white liberals to get over, so they have to ban all these other minorities together. Well, if you've already proven that you don't like this minority or you're siding with this minority over this minority with white liberals, but yet at the same time, though, you're also alienating black men because they're also, anti-Semitic too, and your candidate, your husband's the fact of the matter is this right here. It's not exactly a winning formula, which, of course, is one of the main reasons why it is that people are asking the question, why the hell is she polling so well? Well, she's polling so well because they and even Obama and Axelrod even led you to kind of believe this in the previous video that I did, that they know the campaign is fake, but still, though, at the same time, though, there must be an ulterior motive behind what it is that they are trying to do. Going back to Jesse Waters, going back to the opportunity Republicans have, you have an opportunity to fully light in. Now, Trump has not been around the past few days. As a matter of fact, where's Trump was trending? Apparently, he's supposed to do a press conference at 2 o'clock. I'm hoping that he outlines the overall agenda, answers all the questions, and then gets back on the campaign trail and starts launching some literal ads on network television. Because he's not doing it. It's almost like he wants to damn it throw the election. But, of course, maybe he thinks he's got it in the bag. I don't care. You need to get back on the campaign trail. You need to stop fighting with Republican governors who control the electorate, say, in Georgia, a state you need. Which, by the way, Fox News went ahead and put in their actual electoral college count. The fact of the matter is, a golden opportunity does exist. However, Does that mean that Republicans should get lazy? Well, go back to what Jesse Waters said. It's possible that what Jesse Waters said is correct and Republicans could get lazy and she'd get elected anyway because of our laziness and refusal to go vote, because people think that, hey, look, everything's kind of, fixed and whatnot, and we're all blackpilled and whatnot. What I'm saying to you is you need to get out there and actually vote anyways, because it is a golden opportunity. But there is one more thing that does need to be said. Just one more thing. And that goes back to what I was saying before. I have to harken back to what Roger Stone said that episode. This right here is the kind of administration that they would try to install. Why? So that way they could protest the election on January 6th and basically redo that date all over again, regardless of whether they had the House or the Senate. First and foremost, nobody voted for this woman. I don't think anybody's going to vote for it this time around in the general election, because if you notice about Kamala Harris, you notice that she flies up really, really fast and she goes down really, really fast. Nothing sustainable with her. But I'll let you guys decide that there, how you guys feel on that one. The fact of the matter is this right here. This right here is the type of administration that you would, in fact, try to install somebody, which Roger Stone was predicting, but he also predicted Michelle Obama would be the nominee. But we are getting grumblings that they want to replace Tim Walz as VP. A lot of things could happen. Still, though, it's a golden opportunity. And even if they are throwing it, I don't care. Kick them out at every single level, from local all the way down to your town, all the way up to president. With that right there being said, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have got to say. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.